Equal pay is quite simple to explain. It's a man and a woman who are in the same role doing the same work for the same pay.
The gender pay gap is the difference between what a man and a woman are paid on average across an entire company.
So The Guardian's gender pay gap reporting has been based on the median hourly gap between men and women.
And we do this by looking at all of the male employees in a company and all of the female employees in a company. We line them up from the highest paid to the lowest paid and take the middle person from each group. And then we look at the gap in earnings between the man and the woman. And that's how you get the median gender pay gap. The data isn't perfect, but it has to be noted that it relates to the gender pay gap and not equal pay. It would be great to know if a woman is paid less than a man for doing the same work, but this data doesn't tell us that. The data is far from meaningless. Although it doesn't address equal pay, it does show that there is a gender pay gap. The data showed that there is no sector in the UK in which women are paid better on average than men, and this is something that we didn't know before.
What complaining about the gender pay gap actually is saying that there's a structure in the workplace at the moment, and it's a structure that was designed for a family in 1952. We don't live in that society anymore, and our workforce has to reflect our modern society.
Absolutely. But in certain sectors, there are more women than men across the organisation. For example, education. You'll see a lot of women in the lower quartiles, but when it comes to the top ranking positions, that flips and men are overrepresented. I don't believe that in companies where women are so prominent across the organisation that they are then incapable of taking these higher paying roles.
The gender pay gap reporting requirement doesn't tell us anything about the class or ethnic background of workers, and we know that those factors do play a role in pay. For example, at KPMG, for every £1 a white worker earns, a black or ethnic minority worker only earns 66 pence. That doesn't mean that gender pay gap reporting data is useless. It just means that we need more data and more transparency in other areas too.
We've analysed the data that all companies have reported and found that when women are adequately represented in the top quartile in businesses, the median pay gap shrinks. This means that in order to close the gap, businesses need to get more women into senior leadership roles where they can have a voice and change company culture.
Make all roles more flexible and more suited to the 21st century. That means that you are judged on the results that you produce rather than the time that you spend at your desk. And I think that would benefit both men and women.
More transparency and more debate are key here. This has started a conversation, and the more of these conversations we have, the closer we will get to equality.